Hello, this is Matt with the IEP Resource Center. Today I'm going to walk you through the updates to the rules of completion on the accommodations page, specifically with the assessment accommodations in response to some of the accommodations that were uh, chosen couldn't be or mutually exclusive. So we're going to walk through some of that here. So what I've chosen already for this student are some daily accommodations, which you can see here. And those daily accommodations are going to lead to our conversation here shortly. So we're looking at the Braille test format, paper format for electronic items, and directions content read aloud. So each one of these really is aligned to multiple assessment accommodations, and some of those can't be selected at the same time. So we'll go ahead and look at that as we can. So as we look at this list, you can see the student's going to participate in the state assessment, and I just chose for this high school student a math, so you can see the I-STEP options, and for iLearn, you can see those. So we're going to look at the review assessment accommodations for this student, and you can see them. There's lots of things checked for us. Now, if we leave it as is, if you go down to the bottom of the page and click Save and Continue without doing anything else, you're going to get a lot of error messages here. So basically what this is all telling us is that if we are going to choose read aloud, we have to make a decision here. Are we going to use the human reader and reader script, or are we going to use the computer platform for the read aloud section? So the read aloud human reader script is tied to the paper test format. So that's something to keep in mind here. So if you're going to say the student's going to participate with a human reader using a reader script, then a paper test format must be selected. So in order for that to work correctly, we have to choose read aloud for the student and then make sure everything's aligned with the choices that are appropriate for them. So that's one piece here. So you can see the same options apply for this one. So keep in mind the read aloud, the human reader using a reader script option is satisfied with any paper version of the test. So the Braille paper test, the large print test, stack Spanish test, the accommodated fixed form, which you see down here, all those are paper versions of the test. So if any one of those are selected, then human reader using a reader script is appropriate. If that's not the case, then be sure to eliminate those choices and choose the computer platform for this student. So those are some things to keep in mind. So in this student's case, at the top, I said the human reader with reader script. In this case, I'm going to say the computer platform, and that's okay. So they can be different for different areas. If I click on Save and Continue now, I should be able to go back and see my testing or assessment accommodations appropriately listed there. The last thing I wanted to show you on this piece is for the iLearn assessments, you're going to see, you may have noticed I had the Braille test format selected earlier, and it automatically checks the refreshable Braille and embosser for online, and also student provided a Braille paper test format. Those two can't be selected together, so the system's going to show you, if you have them selected like this, click Save and Continue, and we get an error message that says, from my biology, these two things cannot both be selected with the same section. So I have to make a choice between those two options and according to what's appropriate for that student. So I'm not sure what works best for this particular one, but I'm going to make that selection and click on Save and Continue. So, and then it caught me again because I said reader script there. So I'll change it over. So bottom line for this piece is the update rules will not allow both the human reader using a reader script and the read aloud via the computer platform to stay both selected. So the human reader with a reader script is valid if you're going to use the Braille to paper test, large print paper test, stack Spanish, or an accommodated or just the paper version of the test there, or accommodated fixed form. There's the last one. For a computer version or computer platform voice, then none of those paper versions may be selected at the same time. So it's going to make sure we're not picking the wrong things together. And then lastly, if we indicate that the Braille test format is required for the student, then it's going to have us indicate whether we want the Braille paper test format or refreshable Braille and an embosser for an online assessment. So those are basically the changes that have been put in place just to make sure we're not choosing accommodations that are contradictory in and of themselves. So hopefully that helps streamline some of the issues and clears things up going forward. Keep in mind that this doesn't affect any past IEPs that have been created. This will only affect students going forward. This was in place last Friday, March 13th. So any IEPs going forward would be addressed by these rules of completion. So hopefully that'll help us, again, a little cleaner IEP experience and better result overall. Hopefully that captures everything that's part of the rules of completion and helps you be aware of what's going on in the system. Thanks for your time.